Today on the No Sitting on the Sideline Dad Podcast, Episode 7. My guest today is Millar Montgomery from the BossDadMovement.com. We talk about taking your fatherhood and your dadhood to the next level. Next on the No Sitting on the Sideline Dad Podcast. Sideline Dad Podcast. Hey, I'm Joe Foley. Nice to meet you. I'm a dad and a parent just like you. And I want to say thanks again. I know as a dad and a parent, time is limited. So you choose to spend time with me and listening to my podcast means a lot. This podcast is about having a conversation what it means to be a dad and a parent. And topics related to being a dad and a parent. Dad always seems to be forgotten parent. So let's get involved. No more sitting on the sideline. This will be a weekly podcast dedicated to have a conversation in a sense of community. There'll be interviews, topics about being a dad and a good parent. I know we're all going through the same issues. It's funny, you listen to other podcasts about parenting and being a dad, and you always seem to find this familiar thread. We may be going through slightly different situations, but there's always familiarity in what we're going through. I know this dad stuff, parent stuff is not easy. I'm not an expert. I'm on a journey, just like you, trying to take one day at a time in this crazy world. On this podcast, my guest is Millar Montgomery from the BossDadMovement.com. We talk about kids, camping, health and fitness, how to take your fatherhood to the next level. We talk about struggles and being a dad and sharing custody with his mother of his children and his perspective of being a younger dad at 22 years old. Let's jump right into the interview. Today on the podcast, I have Millar from the Boss Dad Movement. Welcome, Millar. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
I really appreciate you being here. And one question I think I'd like to start off, and what is something like a little icebreaker, what is the most memorable adventure you went on with your kids? Like anything fun and exciting? What's the last one you've done?
It was probably towards the end, towards the middle of last year. We went all on a camping trip during my first set of holidays, and I thought it was going to be, very relaxing and everything like that. And we took a tent and no toilets around, so it was quite remote and everything. And we went there, and I didn't realize how kind of annoying it was going to be having to get up through the night and take your kids to go to the toilet, through a bush, and you're stepping, it's stepping on sticks, it's freezing everywhere, and so it was not really a relaxing holiday, but that's all right. We'll know for next time.
Exactly. It's always fun going camping with kids because they're like my son. We took him camping last spring. We were on a fishing trip, and once it gets really dark, he needs all his lights and his everything to go on. He might as well not turn the lights out because in the tent's all lit up. Everybody can see us.
Exactly. There's not much privacy.
Not really. So one question is, how did you get your name for your website? What is your website about?
So, I had kids when I was 19, and I just like the thought of being a boss and, bossing at life, and just, I guess, which means just being successful and doing things to the best of your ability, and being the kind of man that you would expect, that displays good characteristics and that sort of thing, and just being an all-round legend. And then the movement part, I guess, is, my interest in just health and fitness, and I believe that movement is really a cornerstone to us as people, and really you can learn a lot about yourself through all different kinds of movement practices, which I think is important to everyone's development.
Are you a personal trainer? Did you teach personal training?
I have coached a couple of people in the past, but I don't have any formal sort of personal trainer qualifications. I'm a qualified paramedic though. So I guess, I've learned a bit about the human body and the scientific part of it. But a lot of the things that I've learned that I've practiced in the past have just been going to classes and just doing my own research online.
That's interesting because it is moving and keep moving. I worked at part-time at a gym for a while, and I was kind of maintenance, and I watched everybody between the person just on the Stairmaster. He's doing a really good job sweating until the bigger roller guy is dropping the weights in the middle of the floor. I guess I remember my interesting experience of working at a gym. So how many kids do you have? Like, what's the ranges?
So I've got 3 children. I've got twin daughters who are 6, and my son is 2.5. So I had my daughters when I was 19, just before my 20th birthday. And then my son, obviously, a couple of years after that.
Interesting. You have twin daughters.
Yeah.
Interesting. How is that an experience, having twin daughters?
So, I mean, they were in the special care nursery at the hospital for a few weeks before they actually came home because they were born prematurely. And as a result of that, they were in quite a good routine in terms of feeding and sleeping when they came home, just because, obviously the nurses there have to deal with maybe 6 or 7 children, so they have to get them into a nice routine. So getting them home, it was, they were pretty in sync, which helped a lot. And they were pretty good children, really. I mean, looking back at it now, they slept fairly well, and when they got a little bit older, when they were about 2 or 3, a lot of the time they actually played with each other. So you know how if you have one child, quite often they want your attention, they want to be cuddled with you, they want you to play with them a lot. So we had a little bit of a saving grace there where they would play with each other quite a lot. I think a lot of people think that, when you have twins, it's like one child times 2. But if you can get them in a nice routine and stuff, it's not as bad as that, I think.
Well, because coming from an experience, I'm actually a twin myself, so then I can understand. So when you said twins, it kind of perked like, whoa, twins! Like we talk about that because, when I was younger too, it was always nice to have my brother around to play with, and somebody to talk to and start fights with, instigate stuff.
Yeah, definitely. When they were younger, maybe 2 or 3, they would play with each other nicely. But now it's kind of the opposite, where it's like constant fighting. So I don't know. It's going through different transitional phases as we progress. But hopefully they calm down soon.
It's fun. It's definitely fun. It's challenging being a dad too, and probably taking care of them. Like, you could break it up. Come on, go to one side. Go one side. And
exactly.
Just cut it out.
Yeah, they know exactly how to piss each other off, basically.
A couple of things. When growing up, did you have a mom and a dad, or did they? You have a traditional family, or did you have?
My mum and dad were married. I've got a younger brother, younger sister. My mum and dad split up when I was about 15. Yeah, so that's probably fairly common these days, I would think.
How did that affect you? Did it affect you as being a parent and a dad? Did it affect you at all, or?
Yeah, definitely. Because my parents, it wasn't really a very amicable split, you could say, and there was definitely some flow-on effects for the children. And so when it actually came to splitting up with the mother of my children, it was definitely something that was in the back of my mind of, how's it going to affect my kids? I want to make sure that I don't go down that track that my parents did, and make sure that, the relationship that I have with the mother of my children is still something that is consistently, I guess, getting worked on. And, you still have a relationship at the end of the day because you have children together, I believe. So, yeah, it's something that I'm always trying to, I guess, stay okay.
So basically you and the mother of your children, they're both a shared custody? Yeah,
so I have my kids 3 days a week, and then they're with their mum the other 4.
How is that for the kids? How does that work for the kids? Are they adjust to it now, or is it difficult for them?
So we split up when my daughters were 2, and then we were sort of in and out of a relationship when we had our son. But so really, that's all they've kind of known, is that that we haven't really been together. But the main thing that is important, I think, in when it comes to splitting up and stuff, is that as long as the relationship between the mother and the father is okay, then explaining it to the children tend to just accept it. Like if mum and dad are okay with it, then we're okay with it. We still see our parents, quite a lot every week. The relationship's still good. The children don't feel bad for seeing one child or the other. So, like they've been okay. Like I don't think they've suffered too much.
Well, I'm just curious because how's it affect you when they're not with you? Does it affect you at all, or are you just used to it now?
Like when I'm not with them, it definitely in the early stages it was pretty hard because obviously you've gone from seeing them every single day to now maybe it was in the early stages like once or twice a week, and it's just a pretty big change. But as it's gone on, it's you sort of appreciate the time that you have for yourself now. So there's pros and cons, I guess, that you can look at.
I guess, being a dad and a parent, when we wake up until we go to bed, when we have our kids, it's constant go, 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 go. Answering questions, go, go, go.
Yeah, exactly. And, when you're together with the mother of your child, obviously there's a kind of shared load there because one person can go and do it for a bit, and the other one can have a break, and there's kind of a shared load. But then you don't have any time completely for yourself as easily. So when you split up, the time that you have with the kids is pretty intense, and when I have them after the 3 days, like I'm pretty spent, and I'm sort of like, okay, I need a break now.
When it's my turn. Exactly. What is it like being a younger dad? I know it must have been challenging.
I think there's definitely some unique pressures that come along with being a young father. Just trying to multitask your work. I went to uni and, having your parent time and then trying to have a bit of a social life as well, because you don't necessarily want to miss out on going out with your friends and that sort of thing. And then when it comes to breaking up, when you're a single dad at 22, it's kind of a weird conversation to have with a girl that you might be interested in, sort of thing. It's or that you might be thinking about getting into a relationship with. It's kind of a big step for a 21, 22-year-old girl. Just bringing up that sort of thing, and there's definitely some other things that go along with it. Trying to grow into a man that all sort of 18, 19, 20-year-old people are trying to do. You're just trying to find yourself, and now you've got these kids as well that are nipping at your heels, sort of thing. So
I was very impressed with them. I remember I recently watched both of your 2 YouTube channel videos, and I was very impressed with them. How do you go about doing that? That was pretty good.
Thanks. I don't know. I just bought a camera, and the first video was pretty much just to let people know what I'm about, who I am and stuff. And then the second one, I've got a few people who email in asking questions, just sharing their stories and things like that, which I'll aim to, just talk about in the videos, and because I think there are a lot of common themes when it comes to kids being young, or even when you're a bit older as a dad, just having kids in general, that there's definitely a lot of common themes that people go through. And I think, just having a few different perspectives on how to get through it is definitely helpful and something that I want to create.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to more of those videos. And I'm wondering what you meant by taking your father to the next level. Is it kicking it up a notch? What did you mean by that?
So it was pretty much, when you're a young dad, maybe you see your fatherhood as a little bit of a burden and, a bit of a struggle that you have in your life, which is maybe holding you back. But I think, looking back at me when I was a dad at 19, 20, 21, is that you can really use your fatherhood to grow into that man that you want to be and use it to become a better person and take the traits that you've learnt in being a young father, like multitasking things, communicating with the mother of your children, being a parent, using those things and translating it into other areas of your life. Maybe just flipping the view of your parenthood on its head.
I was wondering, one of your topics, one of your titles, your blog, and how to negotiate parenting boundaries, and I was interested in that. What would you mean by that?
I'm trying to think back to which one it was. So is that in terms of the children or the relationship?
The relationship between the children. Basically, how did you set up the boundaries between you and the mother of your children? And when it comes to sharing custody and...
okay, yeah. So, yeah, when you break up with the mother of your child, it's not like you if you didn't have the kids involved, you could just see the back of them and that would be the end of it. This is someone that you are going to have to keep speaking to, and it's someone that you're going to have to, hopefully be on good terms with for the benefit of your children. So it's about, reestablishing where you both stand now. You're not just friends and you're not in a relationship, but you're in this kind of weird place where you have to get along and sort that out. And I definitely noticed with myself that, you have to reestablish where you both stand and how much support you're going to be giving the mother of your child, because maybe you don't want to overstep the boundary, you don't want to give nothing because, it is the mother of your child. And so it's just something to be aware of and something to get through. I think definitely helped me cultivate a good relationship with the mother of my children.
I guess you talked a lot about healthy lifestyle, like you like to keep moving and stuff like that, about working out maybe and keep a healthy lifestyle. Do your kids play sports at all, being 6?
Yeah, both the girls do dancing, so they do a few different styles of dancing, and they do acrobatics as well. And then they do swimming classes too. And then when I just have them over at my house, I just try and create an environment where it's just being physically active and being aware of learning new skills is something that is a part of life and something that we should be doing every day. So just something that I try and cultivate. Just have in my garage, I've got a big tire. I've got, just a barbell that, we muck around with. We've got a skipping rope and a few things that we can, just play around with.
I noticed that with my son, he's just turned 3, and all of a sudden I become the instant jungle gym. He just climbs right up me one side down the other.
Definitely, I definitely understand that feeling.
And yesterday we went to I don't know if you know who the New England Patriots are, the football team.
No, I haven't heard of them.
But there's a big football stadium, and there was stairs, and it looks like it must have been 10 flights. It's like, I can climb that, Daddy. I was like, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You can do it. And when he gets to the top, he goes, can I go on your shoulders? No problem. You do those stairs. That's all good.
Yeah, they've got a personal taxi wherever you go.
Exactly. That's the job of being a dad. That's the job.
That's it.
One thing I question, and anything you want to add, like anything your message about what the boss dad movement is?
I guess, I just wanted to create, thinking back to when I was a dad and stuff, and just feeling the unique situation that, I felt that I was in. I didn't really feel like there was an outlet or somewhere to turn to that was specific for young dads that I could go to and talk to other people and maybe just throw out some ideas, get some feedback. And so it's just something that I wanted to really create, just create a community. I know that people are having kids younger and younger these days, whether it's planned or not, it's happening. So I just thought, why not just create something that some other people can get on board with and share. Yeah.
Well, are you involved in any of the communities like on Facebook or I don't know if there's no communities on Twitter, but Facebook dad groups? I don't know if you're involved in any of those or.
Yeah, I'm on like the big ones like Life of Dad and that sort of thing. There's a few father specific communities and stuff out there, but maybe not so much for young dads in particular. And I just wanted to create one that was, I guess that would appeal to young fathers out there. It
seems like like you said, younger and older. I just interviewed a gentleman who I think he had his child in his mid-40s. So I see that on the other end too, or younger and older. Right. And most of the people are already established in life are also having children too later in life. And me as I'm an older dad myself actually. So it was kind of nice interviewing you because I could see what the challenges of what you go through and what your situation you have. I found it very interesting and it can be very helpful for other dads. Yeah, definitely. And
just creating awareness about it. And of course, it's not like young dads and old dads are that different. We're all fathers at the end of the day, but there are slight differences there. Just something to get on board with.
Well, we could wrap it up. Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add to and where we can find you?
No, look, I think that's pretty much it. But I've got my website. It's thebossdadmovement.com. I'm on Twitter, Facebook. Got a YouTube channel where I'll be answering any questions that people would want to email in. So the email is millar@thebossdadmovement.com, and it's MILLAR.
Well, thank you very much, Millar, and very much for being on the podcast. I really do appreciate it.
No worries, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Well, that's all for this episode, and thank you for joining me on the No Sitting on the Sideline Dad podcast. You can find all the show notes over at nosittingonthesideline.com. And please comment on the podcast. All comments help improve the podcast. I can be reached at joe@nosittingonthesideline.com. I'm also very active on Twitter at NOSDadPodcast. Well, thank you for your time. Until next time, have fun, get involved with your children. See ya.